To capture the perfect view of a city, we will climb towers and mountains to gain a good vantage point. Such views turn the complexity of the city into something we can comprehend. An alternative is to shrink the city. There are many examples of bronze wayfaring markers which combine the idea of a map with that of a monument, such as this one in Ottawa. With Google Maps, we no longer need to swing by a gas station to pick up a soon-to-be wrinkled and torn map. Though with the obsolescence of physical maps, something is lost in the exchange. Our proposal is to make a sculpture combining the format of a bronze map with an eccentric handmade version of Google Street View. We will create a perspectival nighttime view of 2 blocks of Eglinton West, housed inside a bronze one-point perspective viewing device. This will simulate the view looking down the street from Headington towards Avenue Road. This work is intended to present a view of Eglinton West with the magical and dreamlike appeal that miniatures and optical illusions can have. As we will explain, all the detail that is inside the sculpture will be visible in reverse on the outside. The sculpture will be aimed downwards to create a viewing cone to allow people to see it who are at different heights. The piece will be mounted on a 9-inch pedestal which acts as a step and prevents anyone from inadvertently walking into the piece. The corners of the piece can be slightly rounded off, while the tip of the wedge itself is blunt, with the rear legs positioned flush with it so that there are no protrusions. To create it, we will photograph both sides of the street from Headington to Avenue on a single particular evening. We will then use this as a guide to make a sculpture of the street in exaggerated perspective. The end result will be a slice of time. As this bronze sculpture ages, its patina will naturally change and deepen. Our slice of time points to the sky, suggesting a dream. What future paths will this street take? Rhonda will now lead us through a more detailed look.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Weppler, and this is Trevor Mahovsky, and we've been collaborating together for about 16 years, and here we are in our Toronto studio, and we are so thrilled to be shortlisted for the Eglinton Way BIA Public Art Competition. So here we have some initial models, and we usually just start off with some scrappy materials to get kind of an idea what we want to do, and then slowly get more detailed. And this one here, for example, is just cardboard and some clay and some paint. But the actual piece will be made out of bronze, which we have some experience working with, so we'll talk about that.
But first, another example of a work we made that also looked at local businesses and similarly entailed the obsessive documentation of everyday things. In this case, a transparent antique store full of representations of objects we had collected. It is also an example of taking something familiar and transforming it into a dreamy kind of vision. Here's an example of a bronze we made, and we wanted to show the kind of detail and finish that we will achieve. Every time you see it, there's the chance you will spot something in it you hadn't noticed before.
All right, so if you look at this rough model that we have here, you can see this opening here, and this is the part that you'll look up into. And Trevor, if you can hold up this cardboard box just to show, this is just the model size. You can see it'd be quite large. So you'll be able to look up into that space. This would be the size of that opening that you see here. You'd be able to see if you stood a little bit far away from it.
Testing our model in the studio, even with a smaller test size, the scene inside it is visible from even 7 feet away.
All right, I'm just going to take this top of the model off so I can show you how it would work. So you can see inside, here's the opening where you'd be looking in. So we'd have, cars, and here we have a TTC bus. You can see there's all these holes that would be actually cut right through the bronze, and that would allow light to pass in. So it would kind of give the illusion of all these windows being lit at night, as well as some of the car headlights or the interior of the bus here. Trees and any kind of benches, any kind of street furniture we'd have throughout here. As you can see, the top of the piece would have these perforations, and these would be allow light to come through and appear like stars.
We will use an astronomy app to help us identify the major constellations visible from Eglinton on the night that we document the street, and base a simplified star pattern on this.
Now here is a life-size section of what the piece would look like. Some store signs in here. We have all the details of a patio, and all those can be read from the back as well. Alright, so you can see here we painted it more of a bronze color, and now you can kind of imagine it would be, if you look in the end here, because it's darker, it'll have much more of that nighttime ambience.
And on the life-scaled detail section, now that we've painted it, I think this gives a very close approximation of what the final look of the piece will be on the inside as well as on the outside. We've really enjoyed making these models, and we've really enjoyed coming up with this concept.
And so thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to your feedback.